exploring the concept and urgency of the Constitution in the nation state. The Constitution is a set of rules or laws that contain regulation on how government is regulated and implemented. The laws contained in the Constitution govern very basic matters. What is meant by forming here is to form a country. The Constitution contains the beginning of all regulation concerning a country, or in other words, that the Constitution contains the beginning of all state regulation. The establishment of a state, or drafting and declaring a state.
B. Regulation on how government is regulated and implemented. The laws contained in the Constitution govern very basic matters. In Indonesian nation and state life, the Constitution has several important roles among others. 1. Setting the goal of the establishment of the Indonesian nation. 2. Become the identity or identity of all Indonesians. 3. Become the highest source law in the law is the legal system in Indonesia. 4. Managing various fundamental aspects of Indonesian nation and state life, including in the administrative aspect of government. A. Power sharing between executive, legislative, and judicial institutions. B. Human rights. C. Procedure for changing the Constitution. D. Prohibition to change certain nature of the Constitution.
C. Exploring historical, sociological, and political source of the Constitution in the life of Indonesian nation. According to Hobbes, humans of naturalist status are like wolves, until adagium homo homini lupus. Man is a wolf to his fellow man, meaning that defeats the weak. Two kinds of understanding of the Constitution, namely, in a narrow sense, Constitution is a document or set of documents containing the basic rules for administering the state. In a broad sense, the Constitution is a regulation, whether written or unwritten, which determines how state institutions are formed and executed. D. Building argument on the dynamics and challenge of the Constitution in the lives of Indonesians. In mid-1997, our country was hit by a severe economic and monetary crisis. As a result of the crisis, prices soared, while people purchasing power continued to decline. Meanwhile, the rupiah exchange rate against foreign currencies, especially the US dollar, is declining. The following reform demands are: Point A. Amending the 1945 NRI Constitution. Point B. Abolishing the doctrine of the function on the armed forces of the Republic of Indonesia. Point C. Upholding the supremacy of the law, respect for human rights, as well as the eradication of corruption, collusion, and nepotism. KKN. Point D. Decentralization and a fair relationship between the center. Point E. Realizing freedom on the press. And the last point, realizing democratic life. Describing the essence and urgency of the Constitution in the life of a nation after passing the process. Part 1. Long enough, finally MPR RI managed to make change to the 1945 NRI Constitution. The amendment of the 1945 NRI Constitution, which was originally a demand for reform, has become the need of all components of the nation. So, it is no wonder that in the process of changing the 1945
NRI Constitution. All components of the nation actively participate. Part 2. As previously stated, the origin of the word constitution in French is constituer, which means to form or form. What is meant by forming here is to form a country. Therefore, the constitution is the basis for the establishment of a state. Part 3. Hamid S. At-Tamimi argues that the importance of a constitution or the constitution is a giver of handle and border, as well as on how state power shall be exercised.
A summary of the Constitution in the life of the Indonesian nation. 1. In a narrow sense, the Constitution is a document or set of documents containing the basic rules for administering the state, while in the broad sense, the Constitution is a regulation, whether written or unwritten, that determine how states institutions are formed and executed. At the beginning of the reform era, the demand for change to the 109,045 NKRI Constitution are based on the view that the 109,045 NRI Constitution did not contain enough foundation for democratic life, people empowerment, and respect for human rights. In addition, in the body of the 109,045 NRI Constitution, there are articles that give rise to different interpretation, multi-interpretation, and open opportunities for the implementation of authoritarian, centralistic, closed, and KKN practice. 3. The rationale for the change of the 109,045 NRI Constitution is the supreme power in the hands of the MPR, a very large power in the President. Articles that are too flexible so as to give rise to multi-interpretation. The authority on the President to regulate important matters with the law, and the formulation of the 109,045 NRI Constitution on the spirit of state organization has not been sufficiently supported by the provision of the Constitution in accordance with the demand of reform.
4. The beginning of the process of amendment to the 1945 NRI Constitution is the revocation of the decree of the MPR RI number 4/MPR/1983 concerning referendums. Restriction on the tenure of the President and Vice President of the Republic of Indonesia, and the decree of the MPR on human rights beginning the amendment of the 1945 NRI Constitution. 5. From the process of amendment of the 1945 NRI Constitution, it can be known as follows. A. The amendment of the 1945 NRI Constitution is carried out by the MPR in a unity of change implemented in 4 stages. The MLE at the 1999 MPR General Session, the 200, 201, and 202 MPR Annual Session. B. It occurs because the material change of the 1945 NRI Constitution that have been prepared systematically and completely during the MPR season in 1999 until 2000 cannot be fully discoursed and taken a verdict. C. It means that the amendment of the 1945 NRI Constitution is implemented systematically, continuously because it always refers and is guided by pre-graded draft materials.